Congratulations! You are at the right place at the right time to start your day with a lightning bolt of energy. If you're here, it's because morning talk shows and even most podcasts have you down in the dumps, depleted and yearning for more. I want more money. I want more time. I want more magic. I want to be told what to do. I want to find what works. I want to scale my business. I want to be provided with actionable inspiration. And if more is what you want, then get ready for the Unblinded Huddle, which is the #1 way to start your day with a dose of integrity-based human influence. With your hosts, Sean Callaghy, Fernando Valencia, Adam Gugino, Jared Yellen, and the entire Unblinded movement.
Hey, good morning, folks. Happy Ecosystem Merger Monday and Mastering Monday. Hope everybody's doing awesomely out there. Fernando, good morning, sir. Do we have Fernando yet unmuted? I do not hear Fernando unmuted. Quick, to all of the people in Mastery, we have a hard stop at 8:29. So I was in the middle of answering Craig's question, and then it disconnected. So we have a hard stop at 8:29, so we could all be on to this huddle at 8:30. And for, again, all the Mastery students, I'll be tighter each day and spending about a minute to a minute and a half answering questions. I'll try to keep it to that, unless I think it needs to be longer, to give lots of people an opportunity to be heard from and share there. So thank you for that. So here we are. Jared, are you present,
Yes.
sir? Are you unmuted?
Jared and I are
Fernando?
here. Yep, we're here.
Awesome. So Fernando, good morning. What's present for you? I know you guys are just coming off the other 8 a.m. call, and for everybody out there, welcome. This is your first day. You're like, what is this? So welcome to the Unblinded Huddle. And what we're here to do each day is really 3 things. First is to unblind new people or remind people that there is a formula that creates massive acceleration for people. There's a differentiation of the results that we produce based on a formula. Second, to help people become super clear that mastering that formula is an unbelievable critical part of your acceleration. It's why some people make $100,000 and are just as smart, just as talented, just as brilliant as somebody making $10 million a year. This is not all about money, but also the ability to have impact and contribution, more of the things you want. Or some people have every reason in the world to be happy in relationships, but aren't. And some people are exponentially happier. So the idea that mastery matters. And third, and finally, is for people to become more clear on what that formula is. And we're not obviously going to be able to teach the entire formula here, but we're going to remind you of key distinctions to create your acceleration and starting your day every day. So Fernando, with those 3 outcomes in mind, what are you present to on this Mastery Monday?
What I am present to is that, all hyping aside, that this is the #1 place to start your morning. It is a complete formula and integrity-based human influence, and the innovations and iterations and conversations that we're having on how to make this in best interest of all that is listening, our live ecosystem, is what's present for me. We think daily, we start our days around 6:45, and by the time we get here, I feel like I've had a full day of innovation and productivity, and it excites me to see that our ecosystem is on fire, the chat is moving, and more importantly, we're creating such beautiful and gravitational pull where we have, such stellar human beings. Like today, we have some really awesome guests, and we have some awesome role plays coming up later in the day, all of which are here in service of everyone that is listening. So that is what's present for me.
Yeah. And fun is present, because we don't grow unless we have fun, and we don't keep doing things. Like, things are arduous. Think if people are in the military, in the army, they're literally in the battlefield fighting. Part of what people do when they're not in the middle of gunfire and horrible things risking their life is they laugh. People in isolation need to laugh in this corona situation. We need to have fun. We need to take things seriously. We need to grow in our mastery. But at times we need to breathe and relax and have fun. So part of the morning huddle is also connecting to the reality that it's just fun. It's like fun to talk about corona hair. It's fun to talk about the fact that Fernando got on Tony Robbins' stage and took pictures of himself, and Tony's like, look at this guy. This is ridiculous. And then Tony thrust his hands in the air when he kicked Fernando off stage. Like, he was happy about it. It was wonderful. I was embarrassed. I want to choke Fernando. It is fun to reflect upon these moments. Is it not, Fernando? Like, isn't that fun?
It is. I would question the definition of fun. Yes, we have. I will admit, though, is that we've made it fun. It definitely was not fun, and we've made it fun.
No, it was not
That's
fun.
fun in itself.
It was not fun. All right, and who do we have coming on this morning?
So today we have Dan. Just want to kind of give us some time to work him in. So before I introduce him, I'd like for you to share, Sean, what are some of the things that I know are coming up, some of the things that you're thinking about, and what are some truth bombs? What are some truth bombs that we can give to the hundreds of listeners that we have on at the moment?
Yeah, here's the truth bomb. The truth bomb is that what you, me, all of us don't see what we don't see. And when you're talking about what we're doing in the space of Unblinded, because it feels, looks, tastes, smells, sort of sounds like something you've seen before, there's huge blind spots for all of us. For those that don't know, I'm legally blind. So I get to talk about blind spots and things because there's things I physically can't see. So I can walk into a pole walking down the street, and and it's not fun walking into a metal pole. I have like a scar on my forehead to prove it. And it's probably happened to me about 15 times. It's a lot of pain because I wasn't seeing what I wasn't seeing. Like I was 100% sure there was no pole in front of me, and I walked into it and hit it anyway, right? Because I have blind spots. So for all of us, as we move forward and we're on this call, it's like, okay, like I get it. There's some energy, some motivation. No, wrong. This is about how, with humility, I've made millions of dollars per year in income. I have 2 top 100 national jury verdicts. I was able to coach thousands of my kids' games, being a business owner, not operator, missing only 9, not thousands, 1,000 plus, missing 9. And how when people told me there was these cases that we couldn't possibly win, we were able in a situation to generate tens of millions of dollars in recovery for our clients, when people told me it was impossible to even get $1 million and win. When we should have, by the way, but there was so much corruption, lying, cheating. It was unbelievable, and we're able to do it. In addition, it's how in a business that my dad told me, hey, this sounds too good to be true. When I first quit my job in the law, a section of what I was doing in the legal practice, recovering money from medical providers, I'm like, Dad, I'm going to turn this business into something where we're going to do 100 cases of this a month. And like, it's just so obvious that people aren't doing it. And in those days I didn't have the language. I'm like, it's about seeing what you're not seeing. And my dad was like, if it's that easy, why isn't everybody doing it? And my aunt told me, because she had heard about this line of legal work, she's like, there's no money to be made in that. And I'm like, Dad, I'm going to do 100 cases a month. Well, I did 100 cases a month. I bought my beach house. I bought my sports car. Those things were, mattered to me a lot in those days in 1999. And I got out of debt. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank on top of buying my primary residence and beach house, liquid, right? And I'm like, and I was making a ton of money. I was making 7 figures. And I'm like, how is this possible that I was just like 6 months ago, how is it possible that I was tracking to make like $28,000? How is this happening? How is it possible? And other people didn't see this. My dad was like this strong man, like you can't make money doing it. And footnote, I not only took that business from 100 cases a month, I'm then like, you know what? I'm going to do 200 cases a month. And people who I worked with now, who had seen everything I did, like that's impossible. Well, then we did. I said, you know what? We're going to take this 500 cases a month. And then people said the same thing. And then I said, you know what? We're going to do 1,000 cases a month. We are going to do 1,000 cases a month. And then we couldn't get there for a year. We couldn't get there for 2 years. And they're like, see, you just can't do that. I'm like, BS. It's not that. It's that our process mastery is off. It's our influence mastery is off and our self-mastery is off. The formula is off. No, whisper, whisper, whisper in the corner. Sean's ridiculous. This is impossible. It's not how it works. And you know what? Then we did it. We created breakthroughs. Tom LaGreca, other brilliant people on our team, helped innovate and create breakthroughs that created an access point to achieve it. And then we were filing 1,000 cases a month. 1,000 cases a month in a business that people told me I could never get to 100 cases a month, and told me there was no money that could possibly make because the margins were too small. You couldn't make money in that business, and they were completely and utterly incorrect. In addition, as we talk about what's present here, then I said, Fernando and everybody, you know, I think there's this other line of work, this other type of recovery where when medical providers, hospitals treat people injured in work accidents, what we call workers' compensation, the doctors, the surgeons, the hospitals, they don't get paid what they're supposed to get paid either. There's got to be a way we can help them. Same thing happens. People on my team are like, no, there's no way to help them. The system doesn't work that way. It's impossible, can't be done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we've collected more than $100 million from medical providers in that space. And by the way, the first 6 months it wasn't working. The first 12 months it wasn't working. 18 months it wasn't really working. Now, drop the mic, that line of business is larger at Callagy Law than the original line of business because there's been some legislative changes and pullbacks. It's larger. And I could tell those stories all day long. So what we're present to and why we're here, you go, okay, I get it. So you're going to like inspire me with your stories and tell me what you did. No. We're here to say this. We're not seeing what we're not seeing about how to expand your unique identity in the world through the merging of ecosystems with other people. And if you've been in the mastery program for 2 months, you're still not seeing what you're not seeing. I promise. Because there's minor distinctions that equal massive acceleration that I am present to on this ecosystem merger and Mastery Monday. What I'm also present to is the ability to get ourselves to act and to count things and to know which things to count are utterly and critically important, massively important. And the ability, finally, these are super present, to go from hello to yes with people. That integrity-based influence mastery, the middle section of the unblinded results formula. There's self-mastery, integrity-based influence mastery, and process mastery. Those three things combined are where it's at. However, the integrity-based influence mastery, Fernando, it's remarkable to me. Even people I've been working with for years still don't communicate in the formula. And they'll come back and go, you know, yeah, I just like, I get it. I kind of like get, you should, you know, ask questions. Like, no. That's what like Dale Carnegie's book says. Disconnected tips don't work. Disconnected tips don't teach. If I told you how to hit a baseball better, and I said, keep your eye on the ball, slugger. Keep your eye on the ball, slugger. Focus. Try hard. That's not going to make you a masterful hitter. Like keeping your eye on the ball is, of course, an indispensable necessity. But that's not going to make you a better hitter, or a masterful hitter, I should say. And that's what we're spending time in the space of, is realizing all of those integrations of the formula equal your acceleration, but then what to do with it, and drop the mic, finally, why being a part of this ecosystem with like-minded people speaking a common language, the formula of formulas within the entire world of personal development, that's what we're all doing here. And finally, Fernando and everybody, what I'm most present to on this morning is people's absolute resistance to stepping on the scale every day. People don't want to step on the scale every day. And they don't because they don't want to confront themselves and feel something they don't want to feel. And we're here every morning together to step on the scale. And if you can get yourself to step on the scale every morning and not avoid this checking in. What do I mean by stepping on the scale? Checking in. Confronting yourself in love and self-acceptance, but also aspiration, fun, massive decision-making to move forward. If you can get yourself to condition into that pattern, your acceleration will occur. And most people bounce from personal development information, podcast, seminar, guru, whatever, all over the mapping for like another tip, like make me like sick with tips. I don't want a tip. I want a formula. I don't want tips. I want a structure. Don't tell me how to change my swing unless you have a full formula or one distinction of something to do that integrates and makes sense. That's what we're here to do, Fernando. I know there's a lot, but I'm on fire thinking about this all weekend. An ecosystem merger, on fire, because I love and care about people. And don't let me, Unblinded cornerstone quote, don't let me care about your dreams more than you do. And I have gone through dozens and dozens of relationships, personally, true connection with people, where it was clear to me I cared for and believed more in people's dreams than they did. Love your dreams, hold on to them, and give us time here. Show up every morning, have proximity to this huddle, bring the people you care about in common language. And yeah, I benefit, but that's not a funnel technique. It is not a funnel technique, because I can make a lot more money doing a lot of other things than this. And I have to be on huddles every day. I'm here because I love people. I want to share what has transformed my life and give me freedom to know I can make the money and the time with the magic I want. So Fernando, drop the mic. What's up?
I am not even going to pick that mic up. I'm going to leave it right there. And as always, innovation, morning huddles are an opportunity for you to step on the scale. I will leave it at that. So let's jump in to today's guest. And thank you, Sean, for that fire. Today's guest is the one and only Dan Geltrude from Geltrude & Company, which was created in 1995, 4 years after I was born. So you've been doing taxes for as long as I have been alive, sir. You are ambitious. You are a servant of the people. You are a constant learner. And you have some of the coolest shoes on the planet, which you happen to be able to show off on the news, on TV on a regular basis. So Dan Geltrude is known as America's accountant, dear friends with Sean, has been learning and a student of the formula, has done some crazy things, like have a speaking engagement in front of hundreds of people, and with no warning said, by the way, I'm not the only speaker today. I'm going to bring Sean up to the stage. Massive controversy, massive thunderbolts, and rumor on the street has it, and by rumor on the street, I mean only my street, because I'm making all of this up, is that Courtney is going to kick your A today on the real raw role play at 3 o'clock. She said, didn't say, I'm saying she's taking you in 3 minutes. I believe she's going to take you in 4. So Dan, come on in. What is happening, brother? How are you feeling? And welcome to our Unblinded Huddle, Dan Geltrude.
Well, thank you, Fernando. I really don't know how I live up to that type of introduction, but I will.
Oh, wait, we need one more thing. And you're best-selling author of Positive Financial Karma. We neglected to say that. So please, Dan, welcome, and please continue.
Well, Fernando, I'm not offended that you left that out, but well, anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't know about anybody kicking my ass, whether it's Courtney or whoever. I guess we'll settle that later on this afternoon.
So Dan, listen, what is, okay, so, and we're going to speed through this, and if people want to hear more from Dan, we'll do it later. It's always a quick check-in with amazing teammates. But first, I want to acknowledge you, Dan, for working so hard on putting together some brilliant information on the stimulus. And I'll say the highlights. The highlight is get your application in on time. Everybody's competing for money. These are things that Dan has taught me about. Everybody's competing for the money. There may not be more there. There may be more there, but you want to get ahead. You're submitting it for your own individual bank. Again, I'm just repeating what Dan has taught already. It's going to be based on your payroll and a couple of other things. Is there anything new, Dan, since you gave a brilliant, check out Dan's webinar with Michael Smikin on this. I was on it as well. We'll put that in the chat. Please, Fernando, Jared, please make sure it gets in the chat. If anybody wants to watch and have a highlight, is there anything new since Friday when you, Michael, and I checked in about it? Any new updates, Dan, or still status quo?
Well, what's happening now is that the banks have now, for the most part, opened up their the application process. So now people can actually start to apply for that forgivable loan. So now is the time where the ball is going to start rolling. Of course, the banks are backed up, so there's no reason to panic because there is $350 billion, and President Trump has promised, as well as the Treasurer of the United States, Steve Mnuchin, also said that that money will be replaced until they can help out every single small business in the United States that requires help. So right now, I think the process is starting, and they're saying immediate funding. I don't know what they mean by immediate, but I think we're really, you know, uh, 3 weeks away from actually money in your pocket. Dan, is this the 10,000? No, it is not the 10,000. That is a EIDL loan. I am talking about the PPP loan, Paycheck Protection Program. So it's a different loan altogether. This is better known as the forgivable loan.
Got it. Okay, so Dan Geltrude, you appear on national television multiple times per week. You've gotten to such a point that you're not just talking about accounting. You've increased your unique identity to the point you're commenting on like wars going on in villages in Africa or something, and I'm only slightly exaggerating, and I'm not minimizing that. Like, it's just funny that all of a sudden you're being asked to comment on political items, policy decisions in, Africa, Asia, and all over the world on non-economic issues. So you are a commentator. In fact, you're impacting the news cycle, because some of what people are asking you on national television programs is, hey, Dan, what do you think we should talk about, or you should talk about? So that's an incredible and remarkable place to be. You've also, again, written a best-selling book. Congratulations on that. You have a beautiful and successful accounting practice. You work with family offices and you work with people who are just starting out. We have, 40-ish people in your practice, but you also work with family offices and people making a ton of money. I frame that to get to this question. What are the challenges you're facing? What are the most difficult things facing America's accountant in getting to more of what you want your dreams and legacy to be, if you can encapsulate that in 30 seconds?
Well, I have a number of challenges, Sean, not just one, and you and I have talked about these things. So I'm going to bring up a new challenge that I've been thinking about. And that challenge is, how do I clone myself? So I would love to have more people in my organization being able to do what I do. And what do? Primarily, I make it rain, meaning I attract the business to our firm. It would be really fantastic if I could get, not everybody, but some people to be able to do that with me and ultimately independently from me. That's a challenge.
Right. So I love it. And so in coaching up, and watch this, because Dan is a super smart guy, brilliant man. You, Dan, have identified the most common challenge when I deal with people who are already successful. Courtney, yourself, Jeff Altgilbers, Sean Murphy, talking to Joseph McClendon, everybody I talk to is about who is already, Rob Gill, successful and making money. It is always, next step is more leverage, AKA time, which is having more people who think like I do, right? And I hear that everywhere. Fernando, would you give me an amen on that? That we hear that constantly.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah. So for the folks that are looking to get successful, it's like, how do I get some, generate some more income, more money? I get that. But when people are already succeeding, it's how do I scale and grow? Here's the first and simple thing I would say, and we'll talk more about it on the Real Raw with Dan and Courtney later, because Courtney expects the same thing, right? We'll pick up there in more detail. But here's what I would challenge. If you want to find more people who think like Dan Geltrude, leverage the huddle. You have two choices. Make your own huddle every day to teach people how to think like you, or bring your team here and anybody you think you might want to recruit here on the huddles every day, so we can make them think and unblind them to thinking like Dan Geltrude, because you clearly operate in the formula, obviously, to get to your level of success. So does that make sense, Dan? That if you want people to think like you do, bring them here so we can help them think in the formula. People become what they're around. We all know, we've heard the term, not we all, but many of us, the idea of proximity. I created the huddle to be a mechanism of proximity, so people can become normalized to thinking like successful people, like Dan Geltrude, like Courtney Epps, and others. Does that make sense, Dan?
Yes, it does, Sean. And sometimes the obvious things that are right in front of your nose, you don't see. So this is one of the, I mean, as soon as you started saying it, I'm like, of course that's the answer. How come I didn't think of it? Well, that's why I'm on the call.
Yeah, but that's the beginning of the answer, right? Like getting them here, the people on your team, because it changes their limited thinking. Because I'm going to tell you this, for everybody, write this down or text it to yourself. The reason that people don't take action isn't because they're lazy. It isn't because their dreams aren't big enough. It's actually because they're afraid it's not going to work. And when people are left to their own devices and on their own, they don't act because they think it's not going to work. And when they're here, hearing from people every day who made it work, when I'm telling more of my stories of going from collecting money and not collecting money and giving examples, and other successful people are giving examples, they're hearing endlessly these stories, and they're understanding there is a formula. It's more predictable, then people are going to act because they're not going to be crushed by the two fears: fear of failure, fear of rejection. Make sense, Dan?
Absolutely, Sean.
Yeah. And so, brother, pause. Don't go anywhere, please. Courtney, are you out there, Courtney? Yet?
Courtney is not here with us, Sean. She is going to be with us at 3 o'clock on the Real Raw Unblinded Sales Role Play.
Then I will speak on behalf of Courtney. Courtney was on last week. And again, Courtney is sharing that her business grew from $7,500 a month, about $90K a year, to $250K a month, or $3 million a year. And it was massive acceleration because she's in the formula. At the same time, Courtney is looking to scale in the same way. So my same challenge would be to Courtney is bring people in here for proximity. The thing that she said she is most challenged by is that scalability. Her greatest excitement about Unblinded is understanding the power of ecosystem merging and accelerating scalability. And that's what's present for Courtney. So back to you, Dan. Dan, for you, about like the Unblinded movement, what I'm up to, what we're up to, because in the beginning, tell everybody what you thought of me. When we first met, lay it out, tell everybody what you thought and what you think now.
All right, so I'm going to give it to everybody straight. So pardon my French. I really thought Sean was full of shit, bottom line, because I hear this guy talking in such big plans, and I'm like, how could this be possible? On top of it, he tells me he's blind, and I'm saying to myself, he's not blind. He sees perfectly fine. How could somebody who's blind be acting that way? So I just, listen, I like Sean. I thought he was a great guy. I thought he was just a big dreamer, and really, he didn't strike me as someone who is going to be able to deliver on what he said. So now, and again, I thought he believed it. I just didn't believe it. So now fast forward, and I have watched Sean deliver on every single thing he said to me, by the way, of which I thought he was full of shit about. And now I've told Sean over and over, Sean, I will never doubt you again. The proof is in the pudding, and you have delivered. So you're on it, man.
Yeah. So now I'm going to challenge you, America's accountant, to do what I said. There's people on this line listening right now. And by the way, I haven't told anybody to do this before today, but this has been part of your homework, where I said for somebody to directly make an ask. I shared with you what I believe your ask to everybody should be. And let's see how carefully and closely you're listening and make that ask. And if not, we're going to beat up on America's accountant a little bit, but that's okay because it's going to be fun to do. So what is it that you should be asking every single person you talk to? Because you're a straight up genius. What did we talk about? Was your ask?
So my ask to the people I come across, and you get into those conversations about what you do, and what I do is I provide people with the opportunity to increase profitability and pay less tax. That is what I do. So how do I get that across to people? I simply ask them this: why don't you let me take a look at your tax return and see if I could come up with ways to increase your profitability and to save you money in taxes. Legally, of course. We're not talking about any funny business. We're talking about doing things the right way. So based upon that, the person I'm speaking with has absolutely nothing to lose because I'm going to provide it for free. If I deliver on that, boy, easy to get a client. And that's what Sean told me to do.
Yeah. So two things. One, what is your ask? Everybody on the phone. Everybody on, I shouldn't say the phone, it's not the phone. Everybody that's on the huddle this morning. What is your ask? In every interaction with a human being, are you distinguishing between what could be done with them as an ecosystem partner and what could be done with them in the sales process, and where do you take them? My hallucination would be a beautiful place to take them for you would be to the huddle to create a commonality of thinking. And then the idea of you asking them to do something in ecosystem and in a direct sale becomes much more comfortable and acceptable because they get it and understand, and they're reflexively dealing with not being taken down by their default no. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, that's why you should be here every day. And if you're here a lot and don't know, that's why you should pay more attention. And if you do know, then do it. So new, be here. Been here a bunch, confused, pay more attention and re-listen to some of the huddles. Third, and or get yourself into mastery. Third, if you're hearing me and you understand what I'm saying, take more massive action on it and have 10 phone calls like that today at a minimum. Yes? So final for America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, let me do a combined. What are you the most excited about? Let's do a compound question in 30 seconds. Most excited about Unblinded, and one actionable step that you would tell people that are on this huddle this morning.
So what I'm most excited about is learning, because I've been relatively successful, and I've said this many times. When I'm around Sean, I learn how much I don't know. That's critical. And that's point one. And part two, I would tell everybody, you got to go out and try. You actually have to implement the things that Sean is teaching. And just a real quick example, when Sean advised me about what I should be asking everyone, I started doing it, and it was a little bit uncomfortable, but you fight through it. And then you know what I did? I went to Sean and I said, hey, Sean, by the way, why don't you let me take a look at your tax return, see if I can save you some money?
And then you did.
And I did.
You did. Yeah. So thank you, Dan. Shan, we're going to rock and roll today. I think it's at 3 p.m. Be ready for the real raw with two very contrasting styles, two very successful people, two people working in the same industry, but with quite different areas of these industries. So I think it's going to be really fun, dynamic, and a ton of learning to go on there. So Dan, thanks so much for being on today, brother, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, Sean.
Amazing. So Fernando,
Yes,
what do we got going on out there in the ecosystem? And let's take it from there.
Let's jump in. So our ecosystem is on fire. I want to give some shout outs to Jenny H from Worcester, UK. It brings me great joy to say this. Elle, we're so happy that you're feeling better after your recovery of coronavirus. Brings me great joy to be able to say that. Amy Burton.
Super thankful for Elle. Yep.
Continue, Sean.
Yeah, please. Give me like a pause, a beat of a pause, just to comment on each person. So Elle, so happy that you're feeling better. Amazing. So please continue. And yes, we're happy. We're happy. We got people from the UK. What's up in the UK? And what else is happening?
We got Amy Burton. We got Jeff.
Amy, welcome. Thanks for being here. Jeff, thank you.
Manny De Jesus and Michelle Whitman.
Manny and Michelle, what's up? What's your irresistible offer? What are you talking to people about? And where's your level of mastery and getting from hello to yes in the ask?
And then we got a couple comments. It makes me laugh. We got one from Priya. Fernando, did you just say massive thunderballs? Does that mean what I think it means? Oh my God. No wonder Sean is laughing his head off. And Dan, thank you so much for the free gift you gave all of us of Financial Karma. Most gratefully appreciate it. And for clarification and verification, it was Thunderbolts, not Thunderballs, but both are going to become a real thing now.
Well, Thunderbolt is a James Bond movie, but I don't think that's what Priya was suggesting. But it is an amazing underwater James Bond movie, yes, which I'm a huge, huge fan of. All right. So, Jared, or do we have anybody who's going to jump in, or we're going to move on for
We got one more from Jimmy P, just a comment. And I just want to ask that Raina, raise your hand tomorrow. Would love to call on you, Raina. Just raise your hand tomorrow. And final comment from Jimmy P. Sean brings the heat every day for the last 10 years that I know him. He's the same guy every time, and I love that. The big brother you wish you had growing up.
No, thanks, Jimmy. Thank you, brother. Love you. Stay safe and healthy. Jared, final.
Final, Dan. Thank you so much, my friend, for being present. I know you are extremely busy, so to create the space for the Unblinded Huddle, we all value it immensely. But I will let you know that Courtney Epps was spitting some game last night, and she is bringing the heat, Mr. America's Accountant. So if I was you, I'd create some space today to prepare, because Courtney Epps is coming after you. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern time today, 12 p.m. Pacific time. The link is both on Facebook Live for those that are watching on Facebook Live, and also in the Zoom chat. I highly recommend you register for this one. I don't know if it'll be the same thing as me demolishing the big AG, but Adam Guccino, but it will definitely be a close second. I'm excited for it. We're all going to learn a ton during it. Back to you, Sean, for final.
Yeah, here, let me throw this out there as a lightning bolt. If you could think of, and we're looking for massive levels of influence and massive level from skill, we're looking to add a little goddess energy on a regular basis to the huddle. So if you could think of some folk that you think would be like amazing other people to regularly appear on the huddle in sort of a co-hosting type relational dynamic format, throw some names out there, just generally, and or throw some names out there if you have some contacts and connections with them. That would be really fun. So we are innovating and expanding daily. Nothing will ever stay the same here. It's all in service of massive, the core stays the same, helping you see what you don't see, but the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales, how we bring that to actualization, never stops innovating and accelerating. Fernando, anything final, sir?
Final, everyone. Tune in today, 3 o'clock, Real Raw Unblinded Sales Roleplay. We have Pretty Boy Dan Geltrude, and we have the beast and lovely Southern accent of Courtney Epps. It is going to be exciting. Courtney is saying that Dan is a little antique and that Courtney's super sweet. So jump in for the bout fight. We're going to keep it clean. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn. And it's going to be a great experience for you to see yourself where you could rise in your scale of mastery. We're all blind, Sean.
And there's a little undercurrent in the unblinded movement of like, let's hear more from the woman. So Courtney Epps today is ready to open up a can of whoop ass, representing goddess energy and feminine energy and the women population. So let's bring it, let's step it up, and we are all just learning to see. Thanks.
So now is the time you take action. What is the one thing you will do today that will help you make more money in less time and with more magic? All you need to do is take one action right now and then head over to our private Facebook community at www.unblindedmovement.com to share your big win for the day. If you share today's win and any questions you may have for us, along with a 5-star review, so we can reach more like-minded people like yourselves, your questions will be answered and maybe even your win will be live on the podcast. And if you have not already subscribed, please visit www.unblindedhuddle.com to be part of our live studio audience for each morning huddle so that we can help you see what you don't see about the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales.